Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota and Bet365. The Cubs finish up the road trip with a meh matinee. Plus, Jed Hoyer talks about trade deadline possibilities and more. And we're getting ready for 10 straight games at Wrigley Field. CHGO Cubs next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. Let's go places and Bet365, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary. Use the code CHGO365 at signup. Phillies beat the Cubs 7-2 in the rubber match and series finale. And also, of course, the finale of this road trip, which the Cubs finish up at 4-5. I know a lot of you want to talk about Ben Brown. Some of you probably want to talk about the lineup. Some of you want to talk about the trade deadline. Yes, yes, and yes.
Checking all the boxes.
Yes. Luke Stuckmeyer, Kevin Wells, Cody Del Mendo, Sarah running the ones and twos. And don't forget, by the way, our next podcast will be Corey and Brendan after tomorrow night's game, correct?
Yes.
All right. So I ask you this, Cody Del Mendo, because we asked it before the game. Did the Cubs just mail in the series finale against the Phillies?
Yes. Like, before I say what I want to say, let me preface by saying that I'm not someone who complains about the lineup regularly. I'm not someone who, puts Craig Counsell under a microscope with every decision that he makes. I think there have been many times where I think he makes the right moves and no one even acknowledges it. And when things go bad, you can kind of sit here in hindsight and say, yeah, maybe you should have done this or that, whatever. Today, this lineup stunk. To put this out, trying to win a series, to have a winning road trip, this lineup stunk. And this is not slander to Justin Turner, Vidal Brujan, and even though he had a great game, considering he hasn't been very good, Carson Kelly, all right? If you're trying to win a series, you're trying to have a winning road trip, which they themselves preach that they're trying to win every single game. This lineup stunk to put out to try and win, to complete a winning road trip and win a series. And I understand you want to sit PCA, you want to sit Pete Crow Armstrong, the leader in Fangraphs war in the National League coming today. I get that because you're playing 26 games out of 27 days. Playing 26 out of 27 games, this and that. I get it. You want to sit him, that's fine. But if you're gonna sit PCA today, you can't sit Michael Busch. All right, you just can't, especially after. Let me say that again. Especially after the week that he's had, the road trip. He was the best player on the road trip. And I know you're facing Luzardo, and it's a left-handed pitcher, and we've had this discourse enough. And I've openly said that I would like to see Busch face more lefties. Not all the time, because I do think it is important to get Justin Turner in there at times. And I think over his last month, Justin Turner has been better than what, the start of his Cubs tenure was. But if you're going to sit PCA today, you got to have Busch in there if you're actually trying to win this game. I'm sorry. Like, it just, that bothers me. And again, not a lineup complainer, but you're going up against a lefty, and we know Seiya Suzuki is a better hitter against left-handed pitching than anyone else in this lineup. And if you go look at Ian Happ and Kyle Tucker's numbers against Luzardo themselves, they're terrible. And I'm not saying that Seiya should have let off. All I'm saying is we've seen Seiya hit second in the lineup before against lefties. Why not that? And I'm not – sorry, let me finish.
Oh, yeah, go.
And I'm not saying that if he would have done all that, the Cubs would have won this game. I'm just annoyed that it feels like Craig Counsell and the Cubs punted this game. That's what it feels like. If they do all these things that I'm complaining about the other way, I'm not saying they would have won the game because Ben Brown needed to be better today. And it pisses me off that every time he starts and we have to do a postgame, he loses. And every time we don't have postgame, he does well. Because I'm probably the biggest believer in him than anyone else in this fan base right now. So that's my overall frustration. This is probably the most frustrated I've been with Craig Counsell all season just because it felt like they did not care if they won this game. The semantics of everything, 26 games in 27 days, all that, I get it. And maybe you could have punted a different game during one of those other, against some of the worst teams. You also had off days during that time. So while I can say that, it's more understanding that they didn't, considering they had off days. You have an off day on Monday, but again, 26 games in 27 days, this stretch.
So for listeners and viewers that didn't see the game, this is what Cody's talking about. Brujan in center for Pete Crow Armstrong, and then 4, 5, 6 in the batting order, Swanson, Kelly, Justin Turner. What do you think, Kevin? Did they punt on it?
Well, it's hard to win a game. It's going to be hard to win games against guys who are having all-star caliber seasons, and you have 2 bench players filling in. I don't want to say they punted on it because I think that the Cubs have a good offense, and I think they're going out there trying to win every game. But I think Craig kind of looks at the numbers here and goes, listen, Michael Busch has no chance against Jesus Luzardo, and Pete needs a day off. I think this game's a little bit closer. Ben Brown holds it down a little bit closer. Doesn't give up 3 in the first inning. Maybe it's a little bit closer in the 5th or the 6th. Maybe we see Pete. We heard Pete was available today to play a little bit later. It wasn't a full day off for him. It ended up being that way. But maybe if it's a 2-3 run game, you make those moves later. I called for Pete to pinch hit in the 7th inning, but they were already down 5 runs. This series just highlighted a lot of your inconsistencies in your lineup. And I think when you go up against Zach Wheeler and Jesus Luzardo, 2 guys who, Wheeler's definitely an all-star this year. Luzardo's definitely making his case. Craig probably looks at the numbers and says, listen, I mean, if we win, great, but we have 10 straight coming up at home. I wouldn't call this a successful road trip, but it's a lackluster road trip / average road trip. We'll take 4 wins against 2 teams that are going to be right in it till the end come October. You don't get swept. You take the win and you move forward.
Yeah. So to play devil's advocate for Craig Counsell, he probably, I believe, looks at this as a schedule punt more than he looks at it as a game punt. The way it turns out, 4, 5, and 6, Swanson, Kelly, Turner actually combined for 4 of the Cubs' 8 hits. So they had those, while it's not great, those 3 guys did have half of the Cubs' hits in this game. Subbing Brujan for PCA, we know he's played a lot of games, 26 and 27 days. My guess is they looked at this and said, because of that stretch, and because they don't have the off day Thursday, because this is in a tough turnaround, you're playing at noon after playing last night, and because you play again on Thursday, even though it is at night against the Pirates, he looked at that stretch and said, listen, eventually we're going to have to start Turner, and eventually PCA's got to have a day off, and eventually we might as well do it in this finale. We have 4 wins. We're not guaranteeing that we still have a chance to win the road trip and the series, but if we go home 4 and 5 on the road trip, it's not the end of the world, given that I need to be playing for the rest of the season, not for necessarily winning this series. Turns out the Cubs have lost back-to-back series. That's a little bit different. Did they face really good pitching? Yes. I sort of fall, though, more with Cody. I understand that Counsell has to play for the season, and he has to take care of his players. I do get that, but maybe there could have been something different in this lineup. Maybe not everybody. I'm not saying PCA wasn't a good decision to sit him once because he's probably never going to want to come out of the game. But could you have done something? Could you have at least played Busch? Maybe. And as far as like saying, well, they did have great pitching, we'll get to that in a second. I did see something during the game, people saying, oh, Luzardo, in those 2 games that he'd been bad previous to this, where he'd been lit up, that he'd been tipping his pitches. And they noticed a difference in that. Pitching
Ninja put a side-by-side out with I think a difference or something. I don't know. I saw our good pal Sam Olber tweet something about that from Locked On Cubs. So I know that my annoyance with this game is it probably comes off as very meatball, but what about during the game too? How many times have we seen Craig Counsell pull Michael Busch no matter what if there's a lefty on the mound, if he starts the game? Today, I think it was the 6th inning, Turner came up with a righty after they took Luzardo out, and Turner came up and faced him. No one on base. I just would like to see the same energy, because Michael Busch has legitimately been one of the best first basemen in the National League. All of baseball, honestly. So, and like I said, he's been hot on this road trip. So I am emphasizing again, these little things I'm complaining about the lineup and all that, that doesn't mean that they're going to win the game if they do it. But to me, it felt like they really didn't care if they won this game or not. To me, it was more about at least give your best lineup that you can do to try and have a winning road trip and win this series. And that's probably my biggest annoyance.
I guess the question is, are you okay with them doing that a couple times this season, right? Like,
Yeah.
knowing that it's the long play and being like, listen, we know this isn't our best lineup, because at 4-1, we looked at each other, and I know we were hoping for some rally against the bullpen, but at 4-1 with that lineup, I knew it was over. I sat there for 2 hours knowing the game was over, just waiting to do this show.
I'd prefer they not do it against teams like the Phillies. I'll be honest, if I'm going to give my honest opinion.
But the timing of it, what you were like, I get what Cody was saying, and you're probably thinking too, like, why not do it against the Rockies? It's because of the juxtaposition of now they had the back-to-back late night into day game, and now they go home. They have to travel and play a night game.
But they had an off day in every week in May. They had Thursday off day each week in the month of May.
My thing is, though, regardless of the off days and where they lie in the next couple weeks here, you're facing a lefty tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And you're facing a significantly worse team tomorrow with a bad bullpen and a team that doesn't score a lot of runs. So what? That's my thing. I think I would have rather seen
them do this tomorrow.
I would have rather
push
seen
it one day.
Yeah, I think I would have pushed it a day, because I mean, listen, man, the Phillies are a really good team. We know this. They were in the World Series. They've been in the playoffs a lot. They have a great lineup. They have a great starting pitching staff, and they might not even win their division. So this is a team where you want to get one of the top 2 seeds in the National League, get a bye. And now that the Phillies have firmly secured the season series over you, that might come into play later. It might hurt you, it might not. I don't know. But I think if you're going to choose games to sit guys, and I understand you got to rest guys, and we're not in the locker room. We don't know fatigues of certain guys. We're not looking at all of the numbers against certain guys. We're not looking at every little individual scientific stat that Craig and Jed are looking at. But if I'm going to give a meatball take on that, I'd rather see you sit these guys tomorrow against the lowly Pirates, and I'd rather see you go for it on the road against the Phillies. Yeah.
Especially after the win last night. That was a big win to even the series last night, and to come back into a day game after the night game. It's like, it's just kind of deflating, and I can't really blame people in our chat right now who are probably in many ways irrationally angry. Even I'm a little irrationally angry right now. Yeah. I'm not forgetting about the big picture here. Once I zoom out in a few hours and remember where the Cubs are in the division, and as we speak right now, fingers crossed, knock on wood, the Blue Jays are up 5-2 in the 6th inning on St. Louis, and the Braves are up 6-2 on the Brewers in the 8th inning. Again, knock on wood. Fingers crossed. I
mean, you're frustrated.
So the standings won't change.
I think you're frustrated because it was just a long road trip. It was a frustrating road trip. It was a couple 1-run losses. You're facing 3 of the best pitchers in baseball. One guy who's top 5 in all of WAR and is an MVP candidate in the American League, and you played a pretty good game against him. But, I mean, you got shut down by the Phillies' top 2 guys. They absolutely single-handedly shoved you into the dirt. And Jack Flaherty also shoved you into the dirt. So, way too many strikeouts these last 6 games. Cubs had 53 total strikeouts in 6 games. That's way too many, and it's not something that we're used to, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen that we saw them win 7 straight series, and now to lose 2 in a row, it's like, whoa, hang on, now I'm going to get frustrated.
So it's not just this lineup today.
No,
is what you're saying.
I don't think so. I think it's a little more than that, but I do think that there's some trends in there that are causing us to be frustrated, right? Like, sitting guys in big games against good pitchers, you want to see them give their best effort, and they probably didn't put out the best lineup today. Definitely not the best lineup today. Might have been the worst lineup of the year, arguably. And And then just a long road trip against two really good teams. It's hard to beat good teams. This roster's far from complete. I think that at the end of the day, after the trade deadline, when this roster comes together, we'll be able to actually make a full judgment on the team. I think right now we're just living with the fact that they've lost.
Jed Hoyer talked about that upcoming trade deadline. We're going to hear from that in a second. We're also going to take a deeper look at Ben Brown and how things went today. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Win or lose, sign up, use code CHGO365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. It doesn't matter. MLB early payout offer is the big promo on Bet365 right now. The Cubs come home to play the Pirates tomorrow. It's the Pirates. They could go up 5 runs in the first inning. You might win your bet immediately if you just do that, right? So all you got to do, again, sign up at Bet365, bet $5, win or lose. When you sign up with the code CHGO365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5. You get $150 in bonus bets. You can do it on spreads, player props, futures, totals, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be assessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
Baseball fans thinking about upgrading your drive this summer. Well, Toyota's 2025 lineup is definitely worth a look. There's a RAV4, versatile, reliable, and ready for adventure. Grand Highlander, plenty of room and super comfortable. Looking for efficiency? The Corolla's got you covered. It's smart, it's stylish, it's easy on gas. If you're looking for something tougher, of course, the Tacoma, serious durability, and then the Camry, sleek and packed with performance. Summer starts here. Visit your local dealer today. You can check out the full lineup at Toyota.com or stop by your local Chicagoland Toyota dealership. Toyota, let's go places. What a time to sign up to be a CHGO diehard right now. Get access to our exclusive written content, a free t-shirt, plenty of discounts on future merchant events, plus access to our Discord lounge. Go to allchgo.com for the latest information on how you can join the thousands of CHGO diehards already in our community. We're looking for more sickos. We're looking for you. We want to connect with you on an even greater level. So the Cubs go 4-5 on the road trip. We're going to get to Jed Hoyer in a second. I do want to point out that, 5 losses. There is a trend that a lot of people spotted as it was going on. The 5 losses were to these 5 pitchers: Mackenzie Gore, Skubal, Flaherty, Wheeler, Luzardo. Those are 5. Like, if you want to feel bad about the offense, the flip side of it is to look at it and say, well, but at least they were to 5 good pitchers. At least they weren't losing to guys.
Can we acknowledge once again that the Tigers' defense saved Tarek Skubal last Friday?
Cubs had 8 hits against him.
PCA almost hit a homer off him, and this wasn't off. I don't think this was off. I don't think the Seiya hit was off Skubal, but it was late in the game with a shot to tie it at least. Skubal was great. I'm not saying that he was bad, but you don't tell me that the Cubs didn't have good batted balls against the best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah.
And baseball is baseball, and baseball is going to happen. And I understand the box score, the results at the end of the day, but you cannot confidently sit here and tell me, if you go watch that game all over again, not just the highlights, watch that game all over again, you cannot sit here and tell me that the Cubs didn't have good at-bats against Tarek Skubal.
It's all how you want to look. It's all how you want to look at it. Because I know you said this on our show on Sunday, right? You were talking about, man, they're having trouble against quality starters. A lot of people in the chat are saying the same thing. Like, there's 5 examples of guys, okay, fine, they lost those games. They were the good starters. Cody responded, and I sort of side with Cody on this, that, yeah, but you can't ignore the first month and a half of the season where they had the toughest schedule in baseball, and they did beat quality starting pitching. So one or the other. I just think it's how you look at it, okay? It's half glass full, half glass empty. Did the Cubs lose? Yeah, I can agree with you. They lost to 5 good starters in a row. However, the flip side is, if you want to look at it half full, you can say, well, at least they only lost to good guys. They're not losing games they're supposed to lose. Don't panic about the offense. They lost to some guys that are pretty good. And it doesn't mean that they were dominated by all of them, because I don't think they were dominated by Skubal.
Whenever it comes to these high-end elite starters, it doesn't come down, in my opinion, it doesn't come down to the fact of, Can they hit against good pitching or not? It's not that. It's can they capitalize when they in the very small window that they will have. Because if you go back to the Mackenzie Gore start, they had 3 straight hits in the top of the first inning, bases loaded, no outs, and they did nothing the rest of the game in that one. That they had their one opportunity against one of the best pitchers in the league this year, who, by the way, only allowed 2 earned runs to a Mets team that has one of the biggest payrolls in baseball yesterday. All right. So in the Mackenzie Gore start, they didn't capitalize in the one big moment that they had. Right. Mm-hmm. And then against Jack Flaherty, I would say they were aggressive. They sent Happ home on that PCA single. It didn't go their way. New York thinks me, you, and Kevin are completely wrong on them switching that call. And then Nico Horner gets thrown out because the umpire needs some soft serve ice cream, right? With a runner on base. And I think in that game, you can point to in the small windows of opportunity that they had, they didn't take advantage. That doesn't mean they didn't hit against some of these guys. I think the one against Flaherty on Sunday was probably the worst that they looked. Today, probably ranks number 2 just because of the lineup they put out there. And 2, Luzardo came into this start kind of reeling. It was terrible his last 2 starts. Maybe it was a get right start for him, but you feel like, considering you had already seen him once at Wrigley this season, it felt like perhaps maybe they would do better against him today. However, which way you want to look at that, that's up to you. I think it's a good mixture of both. The fact that he just had a get right start, and also the lineup just not having who I think is the NL MVP in the lineup, and the way that it shaked out, the lineup that Craig put out there is a mix into why they didn't do well today. Wheeler, that game reminds me a lot of the Gore start or the Skubal start. I think they had some hard hit balls that just didn't go their way. PCA almost hit one out dead center against Zach Wheeler on Monday. Mm-hmm. So let me emphasize this. These aren't excuses against these guys, but baseball is baseball, and they had some hard contact against some of these guys. The biggest thing that I'm taking away from it is that they didn't capitalize in some of the crucial moments that they needed to. And I think that's completely different than people saying that they can't hit good pitching. Because if they simply can't hit good pitching, then this would be something we'd be talking about all season. This is something that people are starting to push over the last week.
Well, it's been a couple of weeks. I mean, they haven't hit. Andrew Abbott, I'm looking at those numbers against the Cubs for the Reds. 2 straight starts. He shoved. Luzardo shoved. Wheeler shoved. You beat Skeens earlier this year. But I'm looking at MLB wins above replacement for those guys you mentioned. Skubal's 3rd in pitchers with a 3.2 WAR. Gore is 6 with a 2.9. Wheeler is 7 with a 2.8. Abbott with a 2.7, tied for 9. And, Skeens leads the way with a 3.6. You'll see him on Friday. So, it's a tough stretch of pitching. But when I look back at the Cubs' last 3 weeks here, it's hard not to look at aces and number ones with certain teams and try to find a win in there. I mean, there's just not been many. And, yes, I know that every team struggles with ace-level pitching. And I just named 4 of the top 10 starters in baseball according to WAR. So, not many teams are beating these guys. So is it cause for concern? No, the roster's not finished yet, and you still have over 100 games to play, or around 100 games to play, whatever it is. So at the end of the day, these last 2 series, what it tells me is this really revealed your flaws. And I think that's a blessing in disguise for the Cubs. They knew they needed to go get starting pitching. Now for sure they know they need to go get starting pitching, because the 2 teams you just lost to, 2 straight series, are more complete than you. They have 2 starting pitchers that would go 1-2 in a playoff series and beat you almost every time. Well, so the Cubs need to add more. They're not a complete team. They have a good roster. They don't have a good starting rotation right now. Well, it's not good enough to compete with those teams, and you saw that these last couple
I think
games. We
can all confidently say that we knew this the moment Justin Steele was put out for the rest of the season. So
and you're having guys overperform right now, but you need to find a way to beat some of these guys, right? And I think it just seems like it all stacked one on another. but you need to find a way to win at least one of those games.
Yeah, I'm just not ready to go gloom and doom on the offense over what's going on in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I was the one that said when Shota went down, if they could just be 500 when Shota gets back. Well, they're well beyond that, and things are, if you zoom out, things are fine, and yes, they're going to add. Now, speaking of add, I do want to talk about Ben Brown, but Jed Hoyer talked about Ben Brown and young pitching before the game today. So let's hear from him, and then we'll dive into Brown's start.
I think it's not just Cade and Ben. I think it's Matt Shaw, it's Pete. I think with all these guys, I mean, you have to have young players coming up and contributing. You can't be a good team without it, but they're not going to be the most consistent performances. And obviously those guys have had to step up for us this year in big roles, but you have to expect some inconsistency. If you want that true consistency, you're looking at more veteran guys, and at some point that's cost prohibitive. So that's just the challenge of building a roster where you're going to have some ups and downs, but you also see the flashes of brilliance at times. You look at some of the starts that Ben's had, whether it was a home coming out of the bullpen in that game, or whether against Cincinnati, or whether it was in Dodger Stadium. I mean, the dominant version of him is really good, and hopefully that just starts showing up a little bit more each time.
So there it is, the inconsistency. That's from our friends at Marquee and their YouTube page. You can see the whole thing. Hoyer was out there talking before the game today. And the inconsistency of Ben Brown showed up again today. I said after the game last night, boy, I'm interested to see which Brown's going to show up. Is it going to be the guy that had the opener and then was great, and then the guy that was great against Skubal? Or is it going to be a guy that's had some rocky starts this year? And he came out, and this, I've seen this in the chat, and I think it was maybe Evil Wax that said it, but I'm not sure. But I agree, or maybe Vanilla Chill. I agree with this. This is sort of the thing with the being a young pitcher and a young pitcher with 2 pitches. When he doesn't have command of the most important one, his fastball, which was today, then he gets into big trouble because they know what's coming, right? Mm-hmm. It's the one that he can control. So he had plenty of problems with that again today. He was, he got some innings. He gave you some innings. I'm not saying he didn't do some good things, but there's way too many non-competitive pitches where he just, when he has the fastball going and he commands it, he can dominate the Tigers like he does. And you're like, wow, that's the guy. That guy's going to be in our rotation. And then there's days like today where he doesn't have the feel for the fastball, and you look at him and say, or even the off-speed pitches, and you're saying, geez, that ball barely made it to the dirt. He had 5 or 6 pitches today where it was an off-speed pitch, and I was like, he bounced that so far that nobody in there, not even Javi on his worst day in his worst year would have swung at that. Not even Soriano with a 40-foot bat would have swung at that thing. So that's the stuff that needs to change for Ben Brown. And Jed summed it up before he even saw the game. That's the thing about having the young guys. There's still, no matter how good they are, there's still going to be inconsistency.
He still generated a ton of swing and miss today.
Yeah.
It's just, you're right, the inconsistency of not trusting the third pitch yet, right? Like, I think Jed also said in that press conference, he talked for about 10 minutes, he said how Cade and both Ben Brown are kind of working off each other and learning that changeup, right? And we saw Cade the last 2 starts throw a lot more of it and start to pitch a lot better, and he's trusting it even in pressure situations. And today we just didn't see Ben Brown. From the get-go, the Phillies kind of had him put up a 3 spot, and he felt like he was always, that wasn't a place for him to try to test out a new pitch against a good lineup. You're already down 3. You're going to go to what works, and what works wasn't working today. And that's where you fell into the hole and you lose the game.
It leaves me with a would you rather Wednesday question that I want to ask before we go to the next break, because I want everybody in the live YouTube chat here at the all-new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a total stranger. My question is this for a Would You Rather Wednesday. Right now, you get late in the season. Guys are back. Shota's back. They've made a trade. They add another frontline starter, yada, yada, yada. Late in the season, right now, who would you rather have starting an important game for the Cubs if it comes up in the calendar? Cade Horton or Ben Brown? Let me know who and why in the chat, and we'll get to that in a second. But first, another word from our great sponsors here at CHGO.
Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. They have everything you need to elevate your summer, Luke. It's a one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs and has an expertly created menu with over 100 strains to choose from. Plus, easy online ordering and in-store pickup. I know you love that, Luke. If you're starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance and brands we know you'll love. If you're a pro, they got you covered. Again, with over 100 strains on the menu, visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day. Only 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. And one more thing. For existing users, use promo code CHGO50 for 50% off one Cresco Labs brand item.
Just like your favorite team needs a home field advantage, your home needs a home flooring advantage, and Empire Today can provide it for you. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to the big box store, roaming around the endless aisles, looking at the neon lights, and the person helping you in their flooring department might have been stocking toilets the day before, and it might be out in the garden center tomorrow. Empire Today lives and breathes flooring. Get precise measurements taken, have all your questions answered. There are no surprises. And with Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule that installation as soon as the next day. So schedule a free in-home estimate today. Some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners, you can get a $350 discount just by mentioning CHGO in the code section. That's right, you heard me. $350 discount with the code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. Cubs lose the series to the Phillies. They lose 7-2 in this game, and they finish 4-5 on the road trip. Before the break, I asked the question, after listening to Jed Hoyer talking about Ben Brown, I asked you, who would you rather have start a game? At least right now. That doesn't mean it's going to play out that way, but who do you think you'd rather have starting in a game late in the season if it's important? Horton or Ben Brown?
For me,
how do you think it's going to play out?
I think how do I think it's going to play out? I think Ben Brown will be getting the start because, as I've emphasized many times, how many innings do the Cubs want Cade Horton to pitch this year after the fact that he got hurt last year and didn't throw a lot of innings? That's more of a concern for me more than it is me trying to prove a point. Now, if Cade Horton had pitched all of last year in the minors or the minors / the Cubs and didn't get hurt, then I do think that I could confidently say that I'd prefer Cade Horton because you guys are correct about the 2-pitch thing. I was going to emphasize before we went to break, but we had to go to break, that against Detroit, Ben Brown threw 9 changeups, and he generated 5 swings and 1 whiff against them. Against the Phillies today, he threw 8 and generated 0 swings, 0 whiffs. Now it's a very small sample, I guess. He clearly doesn't have a ton of confidence in it if he's not even hitting double digits on that pitch. I think that I've always believed that as the season goes along, the increase in usage of that pitch will come, right? So, in my opinion, obviously today Ben Brown had a step back. I do think that if Kyle Tucker catches the ball he should catch, that perhaps there aren't as many people upset about Ben Brown today. Because, he gave up 3 runs in the first inning, gave up a solo shot to Kyle Schwarber, so he finally had his revenge moment of the entire series, and that was painful. Castellanos almost sent one out too, ended up being a triple, and Shaw threw him out at home, saved a run, whatever. For me, Ben Brown is just me. It's the same thing that I feel like I've preached all season. This guy will get better as the season goes along. He had 2 great appearances. He competed as well as he could have against Skubal last Friday. And then when he had the opener against, I think it was the Nationals, he pitched 6 strong innings with the guy who opened the game, Pomerantz. Step back today. I was hoping that perhaps after the 3-run first inning, 3 runs in 1 inning, if you're able to still find a way to go 5 or 6 innings, that's fine. I can live with that from a young pitcher, but just unable to, hold it down. He gave up, obviously the home run to Schwarber was bad. So to bring this all back around to your question, Luke, depending on how many innings Cade Horton has by the end of the year, say they go pick up that frontline starter at the deadline and then they cut back on Cade Horton innings, then yeah, I'd probably go with Cade Horton because I think he's the better pitcher.
So confidence in Horton, but reality might be Brown because of the situation, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd much rather see Cade Horton at this moment in time. And it's not because I don't like Ben Brown. I do like Ben Brown. I just think for this roster and where it is with injuries and what we've seen out of the inconsistencies, sometimes you get 0 runs from Ben Brown, sometimes you get 6, sometimes you get 0 again, then the next outing you get 8. I think with the inconsistencies and the fact that he is stretched out, he fits this roster best in the bullpen. But with where you are in injuries right now, that's the reason he's gotten so many starts. Could he be a starter at some point down the line? Yeah, I think so. And I think that is where he will be at some point. But Cade Horton is a true starter. He's got a better pitch mix. He's much more raw, obviously, because he hasn't thrown as much. But I think what we're getting in Cade. And I think that he's been much better overall to start 2025. And I don't see him going down anytime soon. I don't see them moving him out of the rotation anytime soon, even when Shota comes back. I think Ben Brown will be, maybe Colin Ray, but even Ray's been pretty good. I think it'll be Ben Brown as the odd guy out, put in the bullpen. I don't think Ben Brown's going down to AAA or anything like that. I think he makes more sense for the swing and miss to put in the bullpen, because right now you're getting either Ben Brown gets lots of swing and miss, but when he gets hit, it gets hit a mile or it gets hit well over 100 miles an hour. I don't think that serves well in a high leverage role, but I think it serves well in a long-term relief role. Give me Cade Horton in a playoff series.
Yeah,
Cade Horton has 30 2/3 innings pitched as of today, and he pitched around 30-some innings in the minors this year, so he's around 60. I'm thinking about Cade Horton's present and future, a guy who had Tommy John, who had a lat injury last year. I don't disagree with you, Kevin, but reality is there's no way the Cubs are going to let this guy throw 150 innings total this year. I would be shocked.
Depends where they are, right, in the standings. I think if they're good, they do let him go, right?
And if he keeps,
and I don't know if that would be a good decision if we're thinking long term. And I understand that you have to find a way to balance that out, and especially like every season's sacred, and you should go for it, and this and that. And
absolutely,
I agree, but don't let me.
Don't
let me list all the young pitchers the Cubs have had over the course of my life that they didn't. They injuries riddled them. I don't have to bring up the 2 names that everyone thinks of.
Listen, if he's pitching, if he keeps getting better and better, everybody's at risk for injury. Every pitcher,
Sure.
They all are. Steele's hurt, Shota's hurt, everybody's hurt. You got to go for it. You got to pitch the guy that's there. Now, I heard Ian Happ on the Score talking about how the data doesn't support that just throwing a guy less leading up is going to mean he's going to have a healthy career. What you mentioned, Tucker and the failed catch today. When I saw it happen, I agree he should have made the catch. I don't know if it was an error. To me, it's probably an error.
It's an error, in my opinion.
And you think it's not an error?
I don't think they'd call it an error.
This is all I know. When I saw him go back and the ball went off his glove, the first thing I thought of was the bad slide yesterday and the sore collarbone, and thought to myself, that's a guy who knows the wall's right there. That's why he dropped the ball. And I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm not saying it's a business decision either. What I'm saying is that guy has a sore shoulder, and he knows there's a wall coming at him right there. And so that takes off a little bit of concentration. Let's get to the Jed Hoyer on the starting pitcher thing, and we're going to do the super chats as well, because the starting pitcher thing it's debatable whether you want to say Brown or Horton, who's going to do it, who should do it, yada, yada, yada. What's not debatable is the Cubs need another starter, and they need a really good one. So is that move coming soon? Here's Jed Hoyer before the game.
Yeah, obviously I think these guys have done a really good job in the absence of Steele and Shota and Assad, and Wicks has been banged up. So we've definitely, Birdsell, we've definitely taken a lot of hits there, and these guys have held up well, but it's a long season. We're not even halfway through yet, so we have to continue to address that in all sorts of ways, whether it's trade deadlines, small transactions, and hopefully get some of these guys healthy.
For you, what's the feeling like where it's mid-June and I mean, I guess barring some crazy stuff happening in these next couple weeks, like, you have a lot more clarity of what you want to be doing and the direction you guys will be going at the trade deadline compared to the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we've played really well. Our position playing group has just been outstanding, both offensively and defensively. And I think that gives some clarity. Obviously you don't know what's going to happen over the next month and a half with that group, but I think that right now the focus would be on adding pitching and adding pitching depth. I think that would be the clear thing, and maybe there's an upgrade, whether it's on the bench, whether there's some complementary piece. But I think that this group, I think, is a really good group, and like I said, it's not just on offense; it's on defense as well.
So some word salad from Jed Hoyer. I wouldn't say he gave away a whole lot in that conversation, other than don't expect a big deal coming up maybe this week.
Is it a tasty salad, though?
He said
some salads are better than others.
He said what
Is
we're
there a
all
lot
thinking.
of ranch on the salad?
Yeah.
Bacon?
Yeah, a little bacon.
Craisins,
with some ranch.
cranberries. I like a little
No feta. No feta.
No feta. Oh, that's like
no
eating
feta.
dust.
By the way, I want to mention this too. When talking about Cade Horton and his innings, he pitched 34 innings last year before the injury.
Because of injury.
And in his professional career, so this goes back to even before last year, in 23, he pitched 88 and a third innings. So he's never pitched over 100 innings as a Cubs prospect. So
Glass half full. He's got a lot of pitches left on that arm.
So I think this is a good way to add in Gary's super chat that he sent. $4.99
Toyota super chat.
Toyota super chat. Thank you, Luke. Where Gary asks, I bet when Shota comes back, Horton sent down and sent a development list to work on a couple things and then get called back up after the trade deadline. Now, there's a lot to unpack there, but all I'm saying is maybe the Cubs need to add 2 starters before the deadline because you need a front line. And when Jed says pitching depth as well,
you need another Colin Ray or a Flexen.
Yeah, and this is where the Javier Assad injury is really hurting you right now because
big time.
I emphasized last night that I don't feel good about Colin Ray right now. To me, he's giving up way too much hard contact, and that's why we're sitting here debating if we need to put Chris Flexen in there. But the point is another arm to at least eat some innings, and hopefully he's a productive pitcher. But you need that frontline guy as well. And if you're able to add another starter with that frontline guy, and then that gives you the option to go with Cade Horton late in the season because his innings count doesn't get too high, then great. Awesome. And that's the point that I'm trying to make here because I think we all agree that we would rather see Cade Horton in a playoff game situation over Ben Brown. I personally think that if there was a way that you could get a frontline guy and then maybe a guy who, we were talking about Sandy Alcantara last night, if he continues, if the numbers don't get any better, even though he's been better the last couple starts, then, and there's that upside, maybe the Cubs can help him, then you could potentially have a Cade Horton, Ben Brown, high leverage bullpen guy or situation to go with what they have. You know what I mean? These are 2 different scenarios, and I'm very interested to see how the Cubs go about this. Again, that's the dream. If they somehow, some way get Chris Sale and Sandy Alcantara, I will be as high on life as anyone in this city. Okay.
I wish I brought the spray in today.
I'm not saying that's going to happen, but something of that sorts, because I say this on a date where Sandy Alcantara has been terrible this year outside of 2 starts, and those 2 starts being against the Rockies and the Pirates.
But he did throw 98.
Is he back? I don't know. But all I know is that trade value is not where we thought it was back in March.
I think he's still a guy you want, regardless of his start to the year. He's a great pitcher.
Again,
and he might be more affordable.
To me, Alcantara
could work out.
Yeah.
To me, Alcantara would be looked at as that. I don't want to call it a flyer because the guy's won an NL Cy Young, but he's a guy that you're looking at for upside down the road. While when I mentioned Chris Sale has been legitimately one of the best pitchers in all of baseball to this point. So there's 2 different things there.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Mo Canchola with the super chat. Cubs need Toyota super chat. Cubs need better pitching and a good bench bat. No doubt. Yeah. No doubt. They need better pitching. And I will say that Brendan also said 2 starting pitchers because you don't have enough innings. Even with your starters right now, you're not going to have enough innings to finish the year. Even if guys go 5 to 6, you're still going to. So I think the 2 starting pitchers is very likely.
Well, unless we got more information on like Javier Assad's status.
Oh, wait a second.
Still,
More on Assad in a second. Plus, we'll take a look at those Toyota Super Chats. But first, a word from our sponsors. You don't need me to tell you finances can be messy. Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can stop earning and start growing. It's more than your average budgeting app. Monarch Money is a complete financial command center for your accounts, your investments, and your goals. It's important to track your money. You never know. Once you start adding up all those things that are coming to the door on delivery, it's important to keep track of it. With all your accounts, credit cards, and investments in one place, you always know where your money stands without the hassle. Track your spending, your savings, your investments effortlessly so you could focus on what matters most, making the biggest life goals a reality. Named Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app in 2025. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use the code CHGO at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code CHGO. Hey guys, new vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and now is your chance to score a great deal at the Employee Pricing Plus Sales event. Head to Ray CDJR on Route 12 today to choose from their huge inventory of new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. Lease the new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn for $419 a month for 36 months or finance at 1.9% for 72 months. Plus shop over 125 vehicles. They price under $20,000. With Ray's price promise, you can shop confidently with no add-ons, no hidden fees ever. The price you see is the price you pay. Go check out our partner today. Shop one of the area's largest inventories. Don't miss out on Employee Pricing Plus Sales event for huge savings on the Ram 1500. For more information, visit Ray CDJR today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online, raycdjr.com. All right. A lot of people in the live YouTube chat love the Ass Man, and they want to see him back, how important the Ass Man has been. And I appreciate that. And Cody, you mentioned him too. I don't know when he's coming back. I just say this. We're now to mid-June, and we haven't even seen him.
Yeah.
You can't count on Javier Assad to be anything this season.
You
just can't. Would I love him to be, if they add 2 starters and he's a third, you can really start saving innings, and Assad comes in, bolsters the bullpen, makes a few starts. Yeah, it would be terrific.
Yeah.
But right now, if you're Jed Hoyer, in my mind, you have to look at it and say, Assad's season is lost. Now, that might not be the case, but you have to mentally think of it that way, because once you hit mid-June and you haven't even seen him pitch, you have to at least think that way. More Toyota Super Chats. Let's get to those real quick, Sarah. We had first WW Ringside guy says Ben Brown experience over. We said that. Mo with the one Wood and Pryor were ruined, but if the Bartman ball doesn't happen, then they win the World Series. Would have done the rest. I'm not blaming Bartman, and I'm not necessarily blaming Dusty for ruining those 2 guys.
I think Mo's Super Chat is pointed towards like what I was saying about how we like the
But I love you, Mo.
It has everything to do with what I was talking about with the innings for Cade Horton and all.
Yeah, no, I understand. So. Alan with a super chat, appreciate that super chat. And then the other one from Mo was Skeens, Haney, and maybe Keller. That's tough. That's what's coming up from the Pirates.
Really
and I've
tough.
also some people have been saying in the chat, hey, Haney, now that'd be a guy I wouldn't mind adding because the Pirates are totally out of it.
Keller too.
They have some dudes that I wouldn't mind the Cubs taking. It's just more of like,
let's get a good look at
trade
him.
with the Cubs?
And the Pirates GM said, we will listen to any offers or entertain any offers except for O'Neal Cruz and Paul Skeens. So that means they would listen to offers on those guys. And I know that
they need bats. Cubs have a lot of position players.
Keller just signed an extension with them. He's got like 4 or 5 years of control left.
Could we have a
He's
Keller?
late 20s.
We have double Keller?
Think of how Mitch Keller has owned the Cubs the last couple
Print
years.
the shirt.
I mean,
I trust Keller.
Yeah, he's on a 5-year, $77 million deal.
That's a Jed Hoyer contract if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
That's a Jameson Tyone deal.
He would be he's in year 29. He's 29. He'll be 30 next year. So 3 more years of control. 16,
Okay.
$16 million next season, $18 million the season after, and $20 million in 2028. So he'd be 32 in his last season. So he's going to cost a lot because he's great and he's got all that control, and considerably how good he is, he's overperforming what the money that he is making. So
Yeah, he and Skeens are the leaders in quality starts this year, if I'm not mistaken, in the National League. Skeens leads the league, and I think Keller is either tied for second or holds sole position of second place in quality starts. They're both good. I mean,
as you saw in our short on the new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel,
of course I saw it.
There's only 4 guys with more quality starts than Tyone and Boyd, and 2 of them are on the Pirates.
Are those 2 on the? Yeah, okay.
It's always tricky trying to trade within division, but the Pirates are a team where I'm like, they don't care. So like maybe you can do something. And they did trade Kenny Lofton and Aramis
I knew you were going to say
one
that.
day.
If they could just give us Lofton and Aram.
We're talking a lot about the mid-2000s Cubs on this show. We had
They
a
ever could
Bartman
just
reference. We had a Ramirez reference. Kenny Lofton. Who's next? Oh, we talked about Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor.
Yeah.
What year is it?
Cubs legends.
Dusty Baker.
Listen, I'm okay with 4 and 5 on the road trip. It's not the end of the world. Would I have liked 5 and 4? Yes. But considering some of the pitchers they faced and a lot of the guys that they're missing, and 26 games in 27 days, 4 and 5 is not a disaster. Now you come home and you have 10 straight games at Wrigley Field. It's time to get right again, right? Like that stretch where you had the bad teams, you're playing the White Sox and the Rockies. It's time to get good again. 4 against the Pirates, 3 against the Brewers, and 3 against the Mariners. What's your record in that 10-game stretch that's acceptable for you?
What they got? You said the Pirates, the Brewers, and the Mariners?
4 against the Pirates, 3 against the Brewers, 3 against the Mariners. 10 total. I mean, the Pirates are bad and the Mariners are bad.
Mariners are not bad.
Yeah, Mariners are okay.
They're mid. They're a lot like, honestly, they're a lot like playing the Brewers.
They're not a pushover.
Their pitching is great. Their offense sucks outside of Cal
I will
Raleigh
only
and
accept
Julio
7 and 3.
Rodriguez.
You got an AL Cy Young Award contender on the Mariners. You got a great pitcher on the Brewers. You got 2 really good pitchers on the Pirates. I think 7 and 3 is where I want to be, but I could see him going 6 and 4. Let's face it. You're facing a lot of good pitching, and if you end up having to face Freddie Peralta, who has had your number the last couple seasons, you end up having to go.
Didn't they beat Peralta at the game we went to?
Peralta did not play that.
They shut him.
He pitched the next day.
Peralta shut him out earlier this year.
Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Logan Gilbert, obviously
Disagree
the
with
ace of the Mariners staff, who's a guy I really wanted. I knew they weren't going to move him, but I really wanted him in the offseason when the Mariners were talking about trading guys. He's near the top in AL Cy Young. So, yeah, I mean, go 7 and 3. That would be great. I don't know. It depends on what Pirates team you get, right? And what Brewers team you get. The Brewers haven't been scoring any runs, or then they're blowing leads in the 9th inning. But then, it's a rivalry game. You could get a better Brewers team, a team that's still in the wild card picture right now, competing with the Cardinals. They're about a couple games, 1-2 games out right now. So it depends on what Brewers team you get. I think what team you're getting in the Pirates. It's bad. They don't score at all. They're the bottom 2 or 3 offense in baseball.
The Mariners
you should be able
are
to sweep.
500. They're a 500 team. If the Cubs were 500, we'd be saying they're a bad team.
Yeah, I think
there's
I think that there is
Mariners don't ever do anything.
They hit a lot of home runs.
There is important context with the Mariners.
They slug.
Like, we sat in the offseason and raved about their pitching for a reason. And also Cal Raleigh is like the second best player.
They're not the White Sox and Rockies. They're also not the Dodgers or the Padres.
Yeah, they're not a pushover.
They arguably play in a worse division than the NL Central if you look at records. But
you should take 3 out of 4 against Pittsburgh. I will say that. Yeah. Pittsburgh stinks.
You should.
Yeah. You might get a game in there against one of their good pitchers.
2 out of 3 against the Brewers at home?
Yeah, you're right. It's possible. I think the division, and honestly, they lose the series to Mariners. I don't care. It's an AL team. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Beat your divisional teams. Focus on these 2 series. No resting guys. Go for it. You got your 3 best pitchers available right now going in this series, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the Cubs. So that makes me feel good about this series coming up.
I'll say I'll go a little higher. Let's go 8 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to see
because
8 and 2.
I'm so tired of the discourse. All right, people are acting like this team's 20 games under 500. I looked it up. We're 5 and 5 in June. All right, we're 5-5 in June. All right,
June swoon. I knew it.
They at the end of April they were 18-13, and then they went 18-9 in May. All right, now if you go by month, of course, I think at worst some of these months you'd like to at worst go 500, right? So April and May, they were well above 500 in those months. You're 5-5 in June. If we're going off trends, you would like to see a good homestand here against two divisional opponents and two that you've already won series over. And I believe they haven't lost a series to a divisional opponent this year to this point. And that was something that we emphasized at the beginning of May that they needed to do better in. So I'm looking at it trends wise. You got to continue to win games against your divisional opponents.
You could put the Pirates close to 20 games out if you sweep them this weekend. Yeah. They're like 15 out. You could put them
and then they will trade you Skeens.
No. And I wanna point out too the discoursing. I want to defend my position on the starting pitching thing real quick.
All right, you got 1 minute. Go.
I'm not having discourse on it. I'm just factually pointing out they're struggling with good pitching. I think that's important to talk about. I don't think it's a discourse thing. I don't think it's cause for concern yet. But I do think it's worth pointing out when you talk about a team that we have high expectations for. I think with where they've been right now, I think it's not a bad team. I don't think anybody's sounding the alarm, but I think it's okay to point out the fact that they have struggled against some of the top pitchers in baseball, and hopefully this weekend, a good outing against Skeens would be a start.
All right. Well, if they hit well off Heaney, Keller, and Skeens, are people going to say, "Oh, but it's the Pirates"?
Yes, they will.
Probably.
I just want people to keep the same energy at all times. We emphasized how they played the toughest schedule in baseball from April to mid-May, and now people are like, "Nah, like we didn't play anyone," and it's just like, shut up. Anyway.
Everybody done now? Everybody done?
We're done. I just wanted to defend my spot.
Okay.
And I don't disagree.
And another thing.
In some ways.
We should point out that not only is Tyone going tomorrow night when they return home, I feel good about that. 9 quality starts. He's just on a roll. He's been spectacular this season. I like Tyone going against the Pirates. If you were wagering at Bet365 or somewhere like that.
Maybe that's the revenge game I'll finally get.
That could be the revenge game. I'm really looking forward to Horton and Skeens. More importantly, Sarah, what is that?
Friday 120.
Friday 120 Club. The plan is to meet at Murphy's in the morning on Friday. Purchase your ticket, game time. Best way to do it probably. Buy it late. Get a great deal. Meet us at Murphy's for, a little pregame prep. Maybe I'll bring donuts. Maybe I won't. I don't know, but I will be there. I will be there.
They won't let you in the bar if you go.
They won't let me in Murphy's with donuts, but they would let me in the ballpark with donuts.
Somebody should bring you donuts. It's Father's Day weekend.
Well, now, Kevin, you're
Sean
speaking
Caselli,
like a
if
real
you're
person.
listening. Sean Caselli, if you're listening. Yeah.
Do Cody and Braggs take Kevin to the game? He looks like he wants to go. Thank you, Barbara. I would love to go, but I can't. But
if somebody's
Cody, you should take me to a game sometime. That sounds like a lot of fun.
I never turned down a Valrhona from Do Right. I'll just say that. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. The Cubs lost this game. Real quick, this is the question I wanted to ask. We didn't have time for in the show. On a Would You Rather Wednesday, would you rather have Schwarber or would you rather have Happ?
We're going to need more than a minute and a half.
No. It's just a quick answer.
On this Cubs team?
On this Cubs team, would you rather have Happ or would you rather have Schwarber?
Schwarber.
Happ. If we're talking about this team, I'd rather have Schwarber than Seiya, which is crazy to say because Seiya's been awesome.
Yeah, that's tough.
I don't know
it's
about
tough,
that.
though. 21 bombs.
I don't want to put.
I'm
not putting Schwarber in left field, man. The Phillies don't even want to do it. And they have one of the worst defensive outfields in all of baseball.
He'd have to be your DH.
I'd rather have Seiya than all three of them, but I think I'd rather have Schwarber than Happ on this team because you can move your lineup around a little bit more. I guess
you could put Seiya in left field.
The only thing
you could
that
put
makes
Seiya in left field, I guess, and then put Schwarber at DH.
If they don't re-sign Tucker, the only thing that'll make me feel somewhat okay is bringing back Schwarber. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that. Because every time he hits a home run, I get a little sick in the stomach.
Happ is younger. Schwarber getting older. I don't know, but
maybe
Schwarber has an outside chance at 500 homers.
He's definitely going to hit 400.
Yeah.
He's a beast. Give me Kyle Schwarber back. I would love
900 plus OPS this year.
Oh my goodness, would love to see him back this year. Next year, that would be fun.
Schwarbino.
That would be fun.
I'm not running Hap out. I'm just saying I want Schwarber back.
I pushed enough propaganda about Schwarber and how they should have never non-tendered him. So yeah, I'd probably take Schwarber too.
All right, Cubs lose. They drop the series. They finish with a losing record on the road trip, but they're back at it. Wrigley tomorrow. Corey and Brennan with the podcast. Until then, thanks for watching and fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.